Alright, we've got 2 packages. This one which arrived today. There we go. This one which arrived yesterday. This is the Right Stuff package, and includes something that I think got released last week but didn't ship because Amazon didn't have it in stock, and Amazon was like, I don't know when I'm going to have it in stock. Do you want to continue to hold on to it? And I'm like, no, that's okay. Right Stuff has it in stock. I'll just ask for it from them. And we got that, and we got that. As you can see, the recycling bin will be very happy. Here we have more than just one thing, because 2 other things also shipped. Okay. And here's receipts. This is a thing they're doing. This might be receipts for. Oh, that arrived. Well, let's put these like they're like that. And before we go through this, go through the non-anime stuff real quickly, like I do. Although I don't know how quick it'll be. First of all, Black Panther came out this week. Kind of like having more Marvel Cinematic Universe, even if it wasn't. I didn't find it to be the strongest out there, but it's not the worst one. And then I got something that has some neat scenes in it, but bleh. And before I go with these, of course, you might remember I got this Kirlia, and then of course spawned. Oh well, I need the full evolution line, so I got the same. I got the Routes. That's actually a really good Routes picture, because usually Routes just looks like a kind of boring and scary toddler in pajamas or something, and that's a real pretty Gardevoir. These are probably just going to be for display. And saying that, maybe you kind of figured that, oh hey, I decided to maybe build a Gardevoir-themed deck, and I'm basically going with a deck. I don't know if it's still in standard or not. I would guess not, but it's basically Gardevoir themed, especially Mega Gardevoir. So we got like 3 different variants. I'm going for a deck that looks great. And you got some Mega Gardevoir, not one of them didn't ship. This Brilliant Arrow is pretty much the key to this deck. We have the other Mega Gardevoir, both of which arrived. This one, the deck will only have 1, but oh my god, they look so great. So I had to get both. So there's some collecting going on. Xerneas is the combo, the idea being that Geomancy gets energy cards out. And I've only got 3 of the 4. This one is a Pokemon League tournament. There's a Xerneas Break as an alternative in case Gardevoir is not going to work for some reason. Shyman X appears to be a staple of card drawing with setup, and so for my 3 Shyman, I went with a variety of 3. Hoopa X is Search. You may be wondering why I didn't get the full art, and I did order it, but they sent this. These might not be part of the deck, but it looks like some Clefas are really good at just kind of shutting down. The first one, just a baby Pokemon, so it's like a 50% chance of it not taking damage or something. And this ability, shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 7 cards, seems to go in hand with a lot of deck building ideas. I don't know if that's going to be used. This one I kind of like better, because even though you shuffle your hand and draw 6 cards, it goes to sleep when you use that, and when it's asleep, no damage gets dealt to it, so it kind of shuts your opponent down a bit while you set up. Probably better for another deck. Professor Juniper seems to be a staple, or rather Professor Oak, which has been reprinted as Juniper and Sycamore, which is discard your hand and draw 7 cards. 3 of them had arrived, so I had a non-foil, a foil, and this version. The full art is on the way. In seems to be a staple. It sounded like it was maybe a reprint of one other thing, maybe. Anyways, went with 2 full arts. Lysander seems really good for either shutting down your opponent's strategy or going on the offensive. So I got a normal and a full art version. Hex Maniac is a good just in case something comes up. Skyla is I've seen him in some versions of this deck that I looked up. Seems to be a good just in case you need to search for a specific trainer. So if you have a wider variety of support cards, then I think she's there. I do have a full art version coming in. There's 2 full art Lilies. They look spectacular. Lily is part of my attempts to add some of my own flair, I think, because she has oh yes, you draw yourself back up to 6 cards unless it's your first turn, in which case you draw up to 8. And it seemed to me that it's kind of like Shyman, and it kind of themes well, and maybe I might play with this as an alternative to maybe I don't know. I'd have to actually play it to find out. Shauna seems to be just a fun alternative, maybe also to In, because In is about prize cards, and drawing 5 isn't that bad, although In could also disrupt your opponent, especially if they've been killing you. There's a full art Shauna. And Brock's Grit. Although I'm sure Brock's Grit would probably taste pretty good as well, given his capacity as a homeowner, I guess, for lack of better words. This seems like a good thing to have in the sideboard. Other people have mentioned it for there. It's a good way to recover stuff. Gardevoir Spirit Link seems to be a must-have if you're going to Mega Evolve your Gardevoir into Mega Gardevoir so that you can continue doing stuff on your turn. Ultra Balls seem to be the search of choice. So you see I went with 4 different arts. And this, super shiny one here. Mega Turbo seems to be a way to either take advantage of the discard to put energy cards onto your Mega Evolutions, or a way to recover lost energy. EXP Share is a way to make sure your energy doesn't get too lost. This one was supposed to be foiled, but it's a 35-cent card, so that doesn't matter. Verse Trainer seems to be a key to, I guess basically you discard your support cards to do your card searching, and then these allow you to pull specific ones that you need out. And then of course I think I went with non-foil for this one. I went with 4 different art versions. One hasn't arrived, and this one is of course that really golden one. One switch seems to be good to have. I went with that really fancy one. One escape rope is good to have. I went with that one. One super rod, so I've got that. Fairy Garden seems to be good for stuff, and I've got 11 foil fairy energy cards. Yes, I have brought them out. That it's just that stuff. So as you can see, even I don't know if the deck's great, but it's at least pretty, which is pretty much my goal. There's a handful of cards remaining to arrive, but I'm probably never going to play it. Okay, for the first time on Blu-ray, and it looks like I was just trying to think, is this the why can't I remember what they're called? Maybe Vamps? No. I don't know. It was something sort of like vampire, but they're not vampires. We do have disc 1 here. These discs aren't too exciting, but it's good to see that they're all 4 there. Yeah. Anyways, if you're interested in Bleach on Blu-ray, it is still coming out. And it's not going back into its sleeve. Did I look at things such as Region A? I think that's expected. It's Fizz. It's not dubbed, that'd be silly. So this is, I think, the US release. Although I can't help but wonder if this looks a lot like the Japanese release. Okay, here's the Japanese release for comparison. So they're not exactly the same, and the Japanese release obviously had everything written in Japanese on it. But kind of useful to know. Season on 4 BDs. I can feel it there. Alright. Okay, this is that thinner material that Aniplex sometimes releases. We have postcards, questionnaire. This is discs 3 and 4, so discs 1 and 2 are here. We got some artwork on the inside, and artwork on the inside. So this appears to be I think the first US Blu-ray release of Oreimo. You could import the Japanese release, and you're not getting too much more by getting this, but I like to get the official releases. Granblue Fantasy, I've been curious about. I don't even know what it's about, but I've seen weird imagery. Like, you can kind of tell from Kanto Collection, looking at imagery of that, oh yeah, this is girls who are ships. You know, like, you can tell about from their character designs, but Zikenstill Island. So there's an island of some sort. There's a girl on the front who looks like she's, ooh, that's a neat sword lady. Anyways, let's did I see anywhere on here where it said what region this is? I probably didn't even look, because I'm not seeing anything here. Maybe it's region free. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's probably relatively cheap. Anyways, we're going in here. I'm still not seeing the region. Maybe it was on the discs and I didn't look. A young girl who has a one-of-a-kind ability. Okay, I'm not going to read any more past that. This is volume 1 there. Has some text there that's kind of tricky to read. Original Japanese audio and English dub. Oh, this has been English dubbed. 7 episodes. I think there's a part 2 that comes out in a month or 2. I think I recall seeing it. She looks pretty cool too. I mean, obviously as a guy, I definitely like the look of the lady fighter thing a bit more, but now I'm curious. Well, I've been curious, so it's probably not fair to say. Volume 1, Disc 1, Volume 1, Disc 2, and that says CD, so this comes with a soundtrack, which it might have said. The fucking hell. I'm not sure if she's using it to fly, to pole vault, or if she's just preparing to attack with it. Monster Hunter 4 style. Oh well. Let's see. We got postcards. You know, they always do postcards. It looks like the artwork from the lady on the front. And we got Port Breeze Archipelago. We got various character designs. Now, going through, I really like the way things work. It doesn't seem to be trying to say this is all I am, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I think she was on the front because I complimented how much I liked the way it looked. Next up, we've got Rinne, Season 3, Blu-ray DVD versions. Blu-ray version, this one says Region A, Japanese with English subtitles. I think that's consistent with the previous releases. I don't know about the Region A thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's consistent. And let's get this opened. 3 discs and 5 discs. Still have to, kind of see what the artwork differences are between the DVD and the Blu-ray versions. So, DVD version, I don't know, let's look at the Blu-ray version first, because Rumiko Takahashi and her curiosity-piquing character designs. So we can see the disc 1 image, or disc arts are the same. 2 and 3 are unique here. And 4 and 5. So the first and the last two images are the same. Which is, you know, kind of an interesting thing you can do. And then last but not least, Tsugumomo. Which I'm not sure what to think about, because I think I've seen pictures of her, and I've always... Oh, wait. That scene, I think I actually recently saw a brief amount of it on YouTube. Curses, Unraveling Curses. Anyways, I've seen her before, and always keep wondering if she's one character or another character. But she's her own character. So, if I could remember what other characters I thought she might maybe look like, maybe that would be interesting, but I don't know. But anyways, if you didn't know, this region's AB, or maybe I already said that, I don't know. Let's see an English dub. So, I don't know. 2 Blu-ray, 2 DVD, and that artwork seems to be very popular. It's the same as this one, just longer and on the inside. Anyways, there's this week's anime DVD collection update. So I watched season 9, Voyage 5 with my friend. It was pretty good. So season 9 has felt like it had interesting components, but it was maybe taking its time a little more slightly than maybe like season 3 or something like that. Like, it didn't feel as bad as seasons 5 and 6 maybe. And what happened in all the seasons? There's a lot of them. It's not too bad, but it is one of those things where sometimes you already know what the show's doing and you're waiting for it to get to its next step. And one of the nice things about this one is I think it completely finished season 9, and this time they did a little bit more big world building. Like, one of the things about One Piece that has been interesting is the multi-levelness of a lot of stuff. I think they're still kind of keeping their main characters simple and well-defined. This was something that was really fun on the very first voyage release of One Piece, where at some point the characters that are members of the Straw Hat Pirates at that time summarized themselves very well. I stretch, I cut, I lie, and Nami was a thief, I guess. I'm trying to remember if she actually said something like that, but I thought they were saying it to her. Anyways, the point is, you know, they kind of had simple motives for the character, and they kind of kept to those, and I'm thinking they kind of have here. I'm trying to evaluate if that interferes with feeling like the danger's there, but I don't know. It's one of those things where I guess I don't think about it too much while it's happening. I just want to see what does happen. And I mentioned there's the simplicity of the character, which kind of makes you know, okay, this is how this character is going to fight, and maybe they'll come up with some interesting variant of it. And, you know, I think they've come a little away from it. I can come up with some examples, but I don't really want to talk about them, because if you haven't watched a lot of One Piece, or you haven't watched this yet, then I don't want to spoil some of the things that I would think about there. It's basically teetering on the edge of being too complex with the active characters. And I say it that way because the show's had this thing where you got the immediate thing the characters are doing, and then you have the story arc they are doing that within, and then you might even have a slightly bigger story arc that even that's getting in, and as the series overall is progressing, it's actually building together a world that feels like you're always on the verge of learning just a little bit more and learning something very interesting and new. And you know, it's kind of neat to see them, especially focusing on that really big aspect, because you put a lot of time and energy into it because you're kind of curious where that piece is working on, even though you're also curious about other individual pieces. So this was a very satisfying season, I think, and a satisfying end to season 9, I think. Here's hoping season 10 is on the horizon, because I would like to see more of it, and I'm less likely to if I have to start downloading. Anyways, Chihayafuru, I did not finish season 2. I am actually in the last third of the series, maybe even a little bit more, and it's been entertaining. I actually really like the new characters they added and some of the dynamics they've been playing with. It feels a lot like a second season of most sports shows, in that it definitely feels like it's established itself, and so it's not doing as much speculative characters doing stuff thing, and it's more, this is what this season is kind of focused on. It's not quite as focused as the second season of Food Wars, and that could just be because Food Wars Season 2 was just a single core, whereas the first season, I don't remember, was that 1 or 2 cores? I thought it was 2 core. Whereas this Season 2 is 2 core, and it's covering stuff, and it's entertaining. If you like the kind of action of the first season, for lack of better words, then Season 2 will probably continue to be good and interesting. It's just kind of hard to tell. It's worrisome that I don't have a good feeling of how well completing this season is going to feel payoff-wise. Not that every anime has to pay out, or every season has to, but I don't know if there's a Season 3. I'm going to guess by where it is at this point in Season 2 that there is, because it doesn't feel like it can wrap up all the ideas it wants to by the end of this season. But that also makes me wonder where it's going to leave off. So I don't know. Going to finish it before I move on to the next thing. And on to the next thing. Let's see. There were 2 new episodes of Steven Universe that came out recently, and I finally got a chance to watch them, and I was actually thinking a lot about Steven Universe as well when I was talking about One Piece. Steven Universe isn't as multi-layered like One Piece is with its stories, where you have maybe what the characters do in the present episode, and you may have a couple episode story arc that happens, but where One Piece could be 3 to 4 layers, Steven Universe tends to be closer to 2, maybe 2.5, because the individual episode things aren't necessarily what's happening in the moment as much as, like, oh, here are the Straw Hat Pirates, and they just got invited to eat dinner with this person, and what's going to happen. Because, you know, that kind of concept can actually play a couple of episodes and be playing into the story arc that's immediately going on there. So, with Steven Universe, it seems to be like, it's usually kind of a polishing action, where you're watching the polishing happening at this part right now, and you're kind of enjoying it and pleased by it, but every once in a while they stop to take a, you kind of realize that the polishing has been moving over the entire surface, and you get to see a much bigger, shinier picture. And this one definitely felt like it. These were some good episodes. Actually, I liked the previous 4 as well. They, I don't know. I've seen complaints about people who don't like some of the not developing story per se episodes, and usually it turns out they are developing it in some small way. Sometimes they're just introducing an idea or an area that will be revisited later. Sometimes it's a chance for you to kind of see how the world is in its current state, I guess. Overall, that's been a very pleasant thing. Because I know there's other stuff that I've consumed entertainment-wise. Let's see, I watched Return to Oz for the first time, and that's actually a pretty neat movie. I'm not sure if good is definitely the right word. I think it's definitely closer to good than to mediocre, that's for sure. And there may be an element of this that I'm watching it 30 years later than I really should have, and maybe 20 years later than I would have if I wanted to just enjoy it. But it's hard to say. It's definitely got some neat things it's playing with. I guess I don't want to comment about that thing, because if you haven't seen it, then I don't want that to be spoiled. But it's kind of interesting how well it plays. I already knew it kind of played to the idea of revisiting the Wizard of Oz concept as if Dorothy maybe had a mental breakdown. This is in contrast to like the I think there was a movie recently called The Great and Wonderful Oz, maybe, which kind of treated it as, oh, this is a real thing and this is stuff. And I don't know, I don't like a lot of these revisity things, because sometimes the question marks are what make things fun, and some people just can't not milk a cash cow, I guess. But yeah, Return to Oz, overall, interesting. Definitely interesting, probably good. For some reason I'm having trouble solidifying on saying yes, it definitely is. I don't know. I don't know if I've made a whole lot of other progress on other stuff. I did EV Train event Pokemon, and even though it looks like there's a lot of pile here, this pile is actually stuff that I've already ripped. I just haven't figured out where I'm putting them yet over there, whereas this is obviously a previous couple of weeks of anime, so I have to work on that. Obviously I haven't made any progress on anything else worth noting, so this is just, I guess, a common thing for me of starting projects and not finishing them, which is kind of why I purchased all the cards for that Pokemon deck, and I'm surprised as many of them has arrived now as they have. Glad. I just wish the other Mega Gardevoir had shown up, because then I might have just said, even if there's other cards, maybe y'all don't care about them. Or maybe y'all do, but maybe I don't care to show them. But, no. As it is, I'm drifting off and losing focus. Probably a good indication that I should finish recording there. So, y'all, have a nice week.